Go Jackets.
Good afternoon and welcome to Rec Talk. And oh boy, do we got some stuff to talk about today, fellas. Before we get into it though, if you enjoyed these videos, please give it a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. It helps with the algorithm getting this video out to more people. Also, if you want to support the channel, totally up to you. There's a link, a PayPal link in the description. We've already received some donations, so we've purchased some more lighting. I just got some banging video editing software. I'm about to purchase new monitors, and I'd like to purchase some green screen stuff. So, if you feel compelled to do that as well. Now, getting into it. There's going to be two videos today. This one we're going to talk about transfers, recruitings coming in, and then we'll do another one where we're talking about transfers out, where they've committed, Jeff Sims. So look out for that. Last night we did a live, the Georgia Tech live show with Sea-Dog, and we had a guest appearance on our very first show with Bryce Koon. He talked about a ton of stuff, transfers coming in, what he saw in the recruiting visits this weekend. If you haven't watched that show, I'm going to put a link in the description for it as well. That's going to, a lot of what I talk about in this video is going to be based on that, so you might want to go watch it first. Anyways, getting into it. Huge news for Georgia Tech football. First, and we talked about this in previous videos, it is now official though, Haynes King is transferring out of Texas A&M to Georgia Tech. So let's talk about Haynes King. He's a high 4-star recruit out of the state of Texas. He's had struggles at Texas A&M though. But before we get into that, we talked about it on the live show. I compared him, and I think this is an apt description, to Drake May at North Carolina. This is a guy that has a ton of arm talent and is very mobile. He's listed as running a 4.5, which is definitely elite quarterback speed and mobility. I mean, that's good speed for really any of the skill positions too. He's listed at a 4.5 flat. Now, 40 times that you get out of high school, you always kind of have to take those with a grain of salt. But I mean, I'm sure he runs at least a 4.5 something, right? So very, very mobile. I might put, we'll see the film of this on the screen, but when I watch film of this kid, I see him rolling out to his right, and he throws across his body. So he's rolling out to his right. He has to open up, throw across his body like where the post would be, 50-yard dime. And he in high school kind of made a regular play of that. So ton of arm talent. Now the criticism is going to be, well, this is the, I guess, ignorant take on this that you might hear from people. Who cares? Drake May was garbage at Texas A&M. Tech ain't getting nothing special with this kid. And that's just not true. Texas A&M is in a bad spot right now. They had like the number 1 recruiting class last year, and Jimbo Fisher, I think, is kind of set in his ways as far as how he wants to run his offense, and he's not necessarily apt to adjusting his play calling and his system to fit the skill set of the players that he has. And that's shown. And Bryce Koon mentioned, like, this isn't something that just fell apart last year. This has been something that's been in the making for some time. Now, they also have other issues with NIL as far as players leaving. I think there was, like, donors that had paid NIL for, like, a few months, and then once Texas A&M started sucking, they stopped paying it. So that's a whole other issue as to how NIL needs to be tweaked. But my opinion, as well as a lot of others, is I don't think you can hang, all of the struggles of Haynes King on just him. I think he's been in a complicated system that didn't suit him, and they didn't put him in positions that really featured what he does well. So, and Bryce talked about this, like you look at Stetson Bennett, they've got obviously absolutely the most they can out of that kid. Like they've reached his potential, which is really good. He is also a fairly mobile guy. They move him out of the pocket a lot, so if the pass isn't open, he has the opportunity to just run downhill and pick up 5 yards or a first down. Absolutely something you can do with this kid. Like I'm almost giddy about thinking of putting him in those situations where, roll him out. The guy has the talent to make really good throws on the run, and if it's not there, stick your foot in the ground and get upfield and get 10, 15 yards out of it. So huge get for us, and a big part of this is Chase Lane. Chase Lane has been hitting the recruiting trail probably as hard as anyone for us. He was a big part of getting Chase Lane here. So interesting thing is he still has 3 years of eligibility left. In fact, I think he's actually finishing his degree at Texas A&M, which I imagine, well, he hasn't transferred yet, so he still has a free transfer year. But that's an interesting situation too with Pyron. And that's the other good thing is, we don't know how long it's going to take for Zach Pyron to recover from this injury, with that clavicle, collarbone break, I think in multiple places. So I don't know if he'll even be available for the spring game. It gives him time to heal from that and really get, gain an expertise in, our offensive system. Now, probably Haynes King's best game. They almost beat Alabama. Now I know Alabama's trash this year, anyways. That's not true either. When the expectation is national title or bust, and you lose 2 games, people are going to think you're horrible for some reason. But Alabama, very talented team. He threw for 253 yards, 2 touchdowns, and was about 2 yards away from beating Alabama this year. Now, why they called the play they did in that game, like they had like a flat route they threw that was, if he would have caught it, it would have been a yard short anyways. Again, these are coaching issues. That was a bad play call. And you have a kid running a route that's not even going to win you the game there. So I don't know what they were thinking with that, but had a really good game against them. Now, he has had some injury issues as well. I think he broke his leg last year, had to come back from that. Texas A&M opens up the year. They lose to App State. He gets benched, but then gets brought back in. So, just a lot of uncertainty, kind of tumultuous situation with Texas A&M. And we just talked about him, Chase Lane. We've talked about him in other videos, officially coming to Tech. He's a higher 3-star. He has 2 years of eligibility left. I think he also is pursuing a master's degree, or something beyond a bachelor's degree at Tech. Again, he's, hit the recruiting trail harder than anyone, and there will be more to come before all is said and done from Texas A&M in particular. And what, kind of advantage is it that you bring a quarterback and, his wide receiver over with you? So now we've got Chase Lane, we've got, Leo Blackburn, we've got, really talented quarterback throwing to them. Maybe we can retain Ryan King or Nate McCullum. Who knows? We could have kind of a sneaky, scary skill set in the passing game coming up this year. A lot to be excited about. Now, while we were doing the show, news was breaking as we were doing the show last night. So Braylon Oliver out of Minnesota committed to transferring to Tech. A kid out of Douglasville, Georgia, 6'1", 225, solid kid, which is awesome because we need to replace Ely and Thomas, which could be, if not the best linebacker duo in the ACC this year, definitely at the top of that conversation. This is a really talented kid that has the potential to be able to step in those guys' shoes. Exciting news. Also official, Andre White, 4-star kid, also out of Texas A&M, is projected. This is something Bryce Koon and Rod McKenzie have 100% crystal ball prediction that he will be coming to Tech out of Texas A&M. Another really talented kid, 6'3", 235. If we can land him, which it looks likely, I would be comfortable with, like, okay, we're losing Ely and Thomas, but man, we're bringing in two playmakers to replace them. So again, a lot of things to be excited about. So, and even with King, like, we only have two quarterbacks on scholarship, with Pyron, who has some injury issues, Zach Gibson, who we kind of know what we're getting with Gibson, did a phenomenal job at the end of the year, but, is he going to take you where you need to go this year in the ACC and really start competing? Probably not. So Haynes King, a big land there. So let's shift over to recruiting. And this is, I want to talk about this too. This is something I asked Bryce directly. I was like, hey, you were on campus this weekend when we hosted, a ton of different recruits. Like, what did you see? What was the pitch like? What was the response of the athletes visiting? And the main thing that he said was, basically, this is a different Georgia Tech all of a sudden. The response was, this ain't the same Georgia Tech that was just talking all this hoo-hoo, rah-rah stuff before. Like, the intensity of this staff in recruiting. With Brent Key, we bring in Aaron Joe out of Alabama. By the way, both these people have worked on staff with Nick Saban. These are both people that know what it takes to win and know what it takes to build a program that wins consistently and sustainably. So, Brent Key has a vision for where this needs to go. Now, I know we've heard that before. Colin said he had a vision as well. It's just maybe the vision was the bottom of the conference every year, but I think he has the correct vision. He knows exactly who we need to hire, exactly the kids we need to go after, how we need to practice, and what it takes to win at a school like Georgia Tech. So, a lot of these kids left campus this weekend just thinking, man, like something special is starting to happen in Atlanta, Georgia. I can tell you that, and we're already seeing it with these kids that are starting to commit, and some talk around the program. So, Shamik Jones, a 6'5", 255-pound edge rusher, committed while we were on the show, or gave his intention to commit. This is a high 3-star, 87, I think, on 247 out of Camden, South Carolina. He commits to Georgia Tech over Florida State, NC State, Duke, and then a plethora of other schools like App State, Georgia State. And I'll say this too, like, a lot of times when you look at a school's, I guess, recruiting class or the talent they have on roster, you're just looking for the 4 and 5 stars. The thing is, these high 3-star kids are kind of gold as far as, really having depth and some talent on your roster. Like, there's only so many 4 and 5 stars. I realize Georgia gets teams like Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State. They get the majority of them, but sometimes with these high 3-star, there's something. Maybe they haven't reached their potential, or there's some hidden potential with them. And with the size that we're getting out of some of these kids, the length, it's there's a lot of things it allows us to do, and particularly on defense. So Shamik Jones, a big get. Jacob Cruz. Didn't commit on air, but he's another linebacker athlete, kind of hybrid out of North Christian, high 3-star, another 6'5", 225-pound. He's like a linebacker kind of defensive back hybrid, because we have to replace Keon White as well. A thing that Tech has struggled with a lot in the past, recent history, the past 2 years leading up to this point, is we've had a lot of problems getting to the quarterback. And look, sacks aren't the entire story. Like, if the quarterback only has a second and a half to throw, or 2 seconds to throw, like, that's affecting the quarterback. And he's not going to be able to get the ball downfield if he's doing that. And he's not going to be able to go through a progression of reads. So We did better as Key took over. We were able to really pressure the quarterback and get some sacks. And, we're going to have to replace some of these guys on the defensive line. Nakari Ashley is another athlete, another defensive hybrid kind of guy, like edge rusher, linebacker type. Another 6'5", 200-pound guy. Runs a 4.66 40. He commits as well. So we've got some things rolling here. I don't think that he's rated on 247 yet. And that's another interesting thing to talk about. Like, I think it even happened with Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, I think originally he was listed as a 3-star. And this is also something Paul Johnson talked about when he was coach. Like, we'll go after a kid that's a 3-star. Alabama goes and visits and looks at him, and then they offer, and now all of a sudden he's a 4-star. So I'm not, look, if you're going to be successful, you have to recruit well, and that means getting 4- and 5-star talent. But it's not the whole story. Now, the other big thing that Bryce talked about is Terrence Love took an official visit this weekend to Georgia Tech. This is a kid that's committed to Auburn. He is a high 4-star safety out of Langston Hughes, 6'3", 195-pound, absolute playmaker, game-changing kid. Plays championship-level football. Left, and I believe Bryce said that he had a conversation with the kid. Like, he left Atlanta with his commit to Auburn, but very much torn now. Like, the pitch that Key and staff gave these kids, changed their mind a little bit as far as where they're going, whether it's, I don't know if I want to commit to Auburn anymore, or I definitely still need to go to Tech. Like, this would be huge. Can you imagine Clayton Powell-Lee, Brooks, and Terrence Love all in our defensive backfield? That would be pretty nasty. We could wreak havoc in the pass game on defense. And right as I started to record this video, I had to reset and start re-recording. Evan Dickens, running back out of IMG Academy, has committed to Georgia Tech. He's another kind of 3-star kid. Now, we did revoke an offer to the cornerback out of there, but this is another big get, and maybe we can start really start pulling kids out of this football factory that is IMG Academy. Guys, I can't tell you how we haven't seen this stuff at Georgia Tech. I want to say in a long time, but as far as the recruiting buzz and all this that's happening now, I don't know that I've ever seen it. There's a lot to be excited about right now, and I think there's going to be at least one kid once early signing period happens Wednesday that kind of shocks everyone, and it could be Terrence Love. I think we might get one kid to flip that wasn't on anyone's radar that's not a Tech fan. And this really sets us up for, I guess, year 1.5 with Key. I think we could do a lot of impressive things, early on. Like, we don't have to wait we're in a rebuild. It's 2 years out before we start really seeing the results we want to see. I don't think that's where we're at. The expectation is bowl. I think that's very attainable for us. So we'll just wait and see. Look for the other video to come out later today. I appreciate y'all watching, and I'll talk to you later.